Hi, and welcome back to our channel, Cape Cod Like a Local. And today I'm talking with Joe McCabe from Ironside Insurance. Joe's one of our most trusted insurance providers here on the Cape. That he helps a lot of our clients with their homeowners and auto and things like that. So we figured we'd just come talk about some of the things going on in the insurance business and answer some questions people might have that kind of come up a lot. You want to just tell them a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, Joe McCabe with Ironside Insurance Group. It's a Boston-based agency, but I live locally down here on Cape Cod. I've been working in the industry for about 7 years now. And help a lot of local friends, family, clients with all their home and auto and umbrella insurance needs.
Yeah, awesome. And I know there are different carriers. Do you specialize in one carrier or several?
No, we do. We have a wide variety of carriers that can really help us when it comes to any different type of home or where it's located. All of New England, but specifically on the Cape, we have a real advantage by having a lot of carriers from a wide variety of, your national brands like Progressive to your local mutual companies. So it provides us with that competitive advantage.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I found many times people were saying when they were comparing rates, they're like, geez, you did a really good job. And I think that's because you have the options depending on every house and every person's a little bit different. So.
Yep, and every carrier is going to look at them differently as well. So that's really something that you kind of have to figure out as an agent, is looking at the home and where it's located and, kind of who's going to be the best fit for that exact property.
Yeah, got it. One of the things we hear a lot is sometimes they'll call me before they call you, but a lot of times people are like, I paid $1 million for my house. Why is the insurance only $650,000, the coverage?
Yes, that scares people, honestly. So as an agent, what we do is we look at the property, we take all the attributes of that property, and we plug it into what's called the replacement cost estimator. And that means what it's going to cost to rebuild that exact property as it sits there today. So they're not going to insure it for the market value of the home, which includes the land price and all of that. They're going to insure the building as it sits there today and what it would cost to rebuild that structure, say it burnt to the ground. So if it's $650,000 to rebuild, that's what we'll insure it for. But it's likely going to be worth about $1 million down here on the Cape.
Yeah. And people sometimes question, deductibles are higher or lower. What's the purpose? And you want to just give a little bit on that?
Yeah. There's kind of a wide variety, especially down here on Cape Cod, because we're so coastal. A lot of carriers will require either what's called a wind-hail deductible, or named storm deductible, or a hurricane deductible. Wind-hail is going to be any claims that are caused by wind or hail damage. It's usually going to be a percentage of the value of the home. And then likewise, a named storm deductible is going to be a named storm by the National Weather Service, your tropical storms or your hurricanes. And then a hurricane deductible is going to be just strictly for any damage caused by an actual hurricane. So that's probably the best deductible to have. But like I said, most of the carriers are going to require it on here on Cape Cod because it is so prone to high winds and all that being coastal.
Gotcha. Yeah. Do you recommend a specific amount? Like I know, it's like your car. You could have 500,000. How do you decide what's the best deductible for a person?
That's going to be a person by person choice, really. So. What we'll do is we typically start with our clients at $1,000 deductible because that tends to be the average deductible on a home insurance policy. And then the premium can change from there. If you drop it down to a $500 deductible, the premium will climb up slightly. If you bring the deductible up to $2,500, $5,000, the premium will drop. So it's really a discussion with the client and see how much would they feel comfortable coming out of pocket on a claim if they did have to file one. So it's really a personal decision, but we start at that $1,000 mark typically and kind of work our way up and down from there.
Yeah. And sometimes that's if someone, just different behavioral traits. Like someone might say, listen, I just want to know almost everything's covered when something happens. So then they don't mind paying a little bit more just to know that when something happens, they've got a $500 deductible.
Exactly. And it's a peace of mind that they're only coming out of pocket $500. Everything else will be covered by the insurance carrier.
Yeah.
And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, you go up to that $5,000 mark. Someone might just say, hey, I just want the big claims covered. I'll pay a lot less in insurance premiums every year to take care of that, $5,000 deductible if I ever need to pay it.
Yeah, that's kind of my thinking is, can I write that check? Yeah. Do I want to? Not really, but if it brings my premium down, I'm playing the odds that I'm not going to have a big claim anyways.
Exactly. Knock on wood.
Let's pray that's right.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the way to look at it.
And one of the other things I know, Joe, that's come up and is people wonder, like when I use you, do I have to then, after I get my insurance, do I have to pay you to, handle that insurance or something?
Yeah, no, that's a common misconception. A lot of people do ask, what do I owe you personally or your agency? And the truth is nothing. The carriers that we represent and place other business with, they pay us a commission. So we're effectively their sales force. They use us as local independent agents to sell their products and be the provided resource for the local community. So it's not a charge to the client. It's really just the carriers paying us on the back end once the policies are all issued and everything's all squared away. And most carriers pay the same commissions for home, auto, umbrella insurance. So it doesn't drive us in any one direction. It's really, truly, finding the best fit for each client, which is great.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's one thing if you've been watching our videos, we are always talking about using local businesses. There's a cost to acquire clients for all businesses and all insurance companies. Now, some of the insurance companies will pay a guy like Joe to bring them clients, and then Joe services those clients and his team. And then other companies will have these big national companies. The way, instead of paying a guy like him, they're putting out all these big commercials.
They're going to expect you to get to their website or their 1-800 number.
Yeah, and not to disparage all of them, but I can tell you many, many times over the years, I've had clients think they got such a great deal and it's so much cheaper over here. And then when there's a claim is when they find out it was generally cheaper because they didn't have the same coverage and they didn't have someone who lives and works here on Cape Cod and has the accountability of maybe running into you in the supermarket.
and the benefit of having a direct dial number to call, that's what another benefit of using a local independent agent is you're going to have their line right on your phone. So you're not worried about a 1-800 number.
Yeah. And insurance is stuff that really I was in the business for a while and it's a tough business to understand. The policies are tough to understand and it is good just to know that you have someone that you can trust and give you the straight scoop. And, if he's not the best fit, he's told me in the past in certain instances, like you're probably better off going right here. So that I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, it's all about transparency in our industry, that's for sure. So
absolutely. And then the last thing here on Cape Cod is we're always worried about flood insurance, and many times it's really not that bad. And but people are worried about it when they're buying a house. Is it in the flood zone? And they're worried about what it will cost, and justifiably in most cases, but sometimes it's not too bad. But are there, I think there have been changes recently about the flood insurance program that might help in that respect, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So recently, last fall, the FHA loans now no longer require you to go through the National Flood Insurance Program, which is backed by FEMA, so obviously a very strong national government program. But because it was a government loan, you had to use that National Flood Insurance Program flood policy, which tends to be quite expensive. So now they've allowed it to open up to private market insurance carriers, so which we found in the past, they can offer very much more competitive rates because they're rating on details of the property rather than just kind of blanketing properties together. So that's kind of been an exciting change for definitely a lot of clients using that FHA loan. And overall, it's like you said, it's not always a bad thing having that flood insurance policy there. Often it can be cheaper than people realize, which is great.
Yeah, I've been surprised at how little it costs sometimes, and sometimes it's assumable. If the people that are living there already have a policy, you can take that policy over.
Yeah, most of the time that's the case, which is a great thing because if you get a person with a solid rate, especially on a national flood insurance program policy, and you get grandfathered into a lower risk zone with them selling the property to you. So that's really worked out in a couple cases for a lot of my clients.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, again, insurance is it's a big expense in all of our lives, and businesses and our homes and our cars and health insurance and life insurance and long-term care. We have all this stuff. But if you have questions, it's a good idea. How often should people review their homeowners?
I would say take a look at it annually as it comes in. As long as there's no changes, it's usually not too bad of a change year over year. But every 3 years, you want to do an in-depth dive for sure and make sure that nothing has really changed, especially premium-wise. Right now is a bit of a crazy time. A lot of increases from a lot of different carriers. So now is probably a good time to take a look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say, and this is not a cheap commercial plug, I'm going to charge them a fortune for this one. No, I'm only kidding. No, I would say, and I've been saying it for years, that when you do review your insurance, or if you feel like you're in with a carrier that's not, if you can't pick the phone up and get them on the phone, or at least get a response very quickly, then I would say take your insurance policy to a local agent. Be it Joe, or if there's someone else you like or you've met, that's fine too. But make sure you've got a local professional putting their eyes on your policy at least every 3 years and seeing if there's ways that they can save you money, or if your home has gone up in value, or you've added on to it, or you want to make sure you have the proper coverage, and the best way to do that is dealing with a local professional. So
absolutely.
Anything else you want to add today that we might need to know, Joe?
No, I think that pretty much covers it. I think the way to go is always a local independent agent. You're going to get the best service. They're going to be able to find you a carrier for you, so you don't have to do the shopping yourself. And I think it'll benefit everyone in the long run. Yeah,
absolutely. So that's it for this week. We are going to include Joe's contact information if you have any questions. Trust me on this one, you'll be very satisfied. If you even just have a conversation with him, he'll help you out. Yes, if Joe can't help you, he'll point you in the right direction. But we'll see you next week.